You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good Wednesday morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. And you're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Wednesday, August 14th episode. What episode is this, Glenn? Do we call it 3502?
Yeah, 3502. That's right.
You're supposed to write it down when I read this stuff, so just whatever.
I didn't notice it wasn't even there. Yes, 3502.
I have to read the stuff he writes, people.
Say good morning, Horse World.
Oh, good morning, Horse World.
Diving ground now, he's railing up onto the back of Black Caviar, followed further back by Epaulet, and on the lookout last of all, Nolan trying to get away from the inside to avoid being boxed up here, and the leader, Rain Affair, led from Haylist on the outside, Black Caviar in the centre, and How Much Do You Love Me on the inside of them, followed by Bell Sprinter. He's worked up to midfield, followed by Decision Time, and then Title Atomic Force, followed by Seasire and Epaulet, and further back on the lookout, Rain Affair, kicked away at the stop of the straight. Nolan asking the mare to come after him now, and in a heartbeat, she raced up and hit the lead. She's giving Sydney some of the black magic, and look at her go, Black Caviar. She raced away. She's going to set a new Group 1 record in Australia. She's truly in a league of her own. Black Caviar racing away from Epaulet. Black Caviar doesn't let us down. Beat Epaulet. Third home Bell Sprinter. And then
Oh, God. That was just the saddest news we got on Monday. That Black Caviar, 25 for 25, an Australian super mare, passed away after foaling this weekend. Oh my God. That is just so devastating. She was just one of the most amazing racehorses. She was 17 years old. I guess she got had a milk fever with her foal, and then it went right to her feet. It was laminitis, and I think they lost the mare in the foal. Oh my God.
And apparently it all happened pretty quickly. I've never heard about it happening that quick, like within a week.
I was like, I didn't even know you could get laminitis from foaling. Horses are just, it just goes to show you that it can happen to everybody. You know, you think you have bad luck, and then you're like, you hear about Black Caviar being lost to laminitis. Oh my gosh, like how devastating.
She started racing in 2009, won her first 2 races by margins of 5 and 6 lengths. I mean, huge margins. And then she just continued winning 25 races, consecutive victories, including 15 at the Group 1 level, which is like the highest level down there. And
if you want to just YouTube Black Caviar, if you just want to sit there and watch just absolute equine greatness.
And most of her races were like the one we just heard. She would sit back like in the lead pack and then just come up the end and just
it's
away.
like a lot like Winx, the Australian. They were like, okay, we're just gonna let you think you're gonna. Okay, bye.
She won $8 million in prize money. Did much better than that, I think. Foaling babies. I think she had 5 or 6 babies.
Yeah.
And she also went outside the country and won the Royal Ascot in 2012, the Diamond Jubilee Stakes. And also was European champion sprinter at the Cartier Racing Awards. So, I mean, she was just such a... I remember covering her. We covered her races back then.
Yeah. I have her Briar. She won... I love this. Like, there's a website called Horse Lovers Math. And they were like, okay, basically she earned $318,253.43 per race. Or $4,758.69 per second that she ran. I was like, oh my God, per second. Unreal.
Well, rest in peace, Black Caviar.
Oh.
Dr. Rosanna Marsella is going to join us from the University of Florida to discuss managing bug bites in horses. I don't know about you, but the mosquitoes here after this hurricane went through are just horrendous.
Yeah, we just had, our 10 inches of rain, and now mosquitoes are just unreal.
Flies,
and
mosquitoes.
You'll see in the show note picture how helpful one of my horses is. We'll get to that in a minute about
apparently
the
that
bugs.
particular horse wants bug bites. In Horses in History, we're going to take a look at the first woman to win a medal in equestrian sports at the Olympics, and there's more to the story. So we're going to hear about that. Do we have weird news?
Oh my God, the weirdest.
And then in the Auditor Post Show, we're going to do, this was an article in, I don't know, I forget which, I'll tell you where it is in the Post Show, but it was 13 signs you're smarter than you think you are. Apparently, I'm not very smart. I don't even remember where the article was from. But we can all play along and see if we're smarter than we think we are. I kind of need that today, actually, I guess. So that's all coming up on today's show, plus much more. And we have a job opening, too, we want to review with you for all of you that want some excitement in life. We'll go over that as well. Well, Jessica Isbrecht's birthday's today. She was the one who who did that reading for us on Monday. So thank you, Jessica, for that. And happy birthday to you over there in Romania. I guess they have birthday cakes there. We hope you have a good time. And also, congratulations to the over 100 competitors in the first ever United States Hobby Horse Championships held on the 10th in Michigan. Now, do you want to hear what some of the classes were for the Hobby Horse Championships?
I can't wait to hear what classes.
It's so funny because I went to the website. There's actually a United States Hobby Horse champion organization that put this on.
Okay.
And they had, I love the website because they had specific instructions on how to fly with your hobby horse. Did you know that you can't get on a plane with your hobby horse if you have to check them in your checked luggage, or you have to take the stick out of its head and put that in the checked luggage, and then you can bring the head on the plane in your carry-on. So it was very complicated how you could get your hobby horse to the championships. Probably a lot less complicated than spending $10,000 to fly your horse there.
Well, you know, as a wife of an airline pilot, I would be very scared if Chad was flying and some little girl walked in with a horse head on a stick. I mean, woo, that is a weapon we should watch out for.
So the classes that they had were junior show jumping and senior show jumping. Barrel racing.
Oh my God! What? Stop!
Oh, you should watch the videos. The jumping is amazing.
What is the ages of senior show
that I
jumping?
Don't know. That I didn't see.
Are we talking like over 60? Or are we talking like over 12?
I don't know. Barrel racing was another one, which kind of makes sense, right? Grand Prix dressage freestyle. And Poussance was another one. Apparently, Poussance, like in regular show jumping classes, Poussance is the most popular because that's how high you can jump, right? So that's also the most popular. But 100 competitors came from around the country for that at the United States.
Breakdancing was in the Olympics this past year. How long till we get hobby horses in the Olympics? Because that's fantastic, and I would totally watch that.
Although they're trying to get rid of the horse sports, so this would be much cheaper, though. Actually, they might replace the horse sports with this.
Oh, that would be heartbreaking.
Congratulations to all the competitors. I think we've been covering this since it started.
I'm sorry. Here's the thing. If you are listening and you are a hobby horse competitor, please send me an email, jamie@horseradionetwork.com, because we want to talk to you. Because I'm not making fun of you. I just think that there's no way my body would allow me to jump a cross rail, much less Poussance. And seniors,
much less 3-4 feet.
Am I a senior in the hobby horse world? I mean, okay, I need to know. So
we need to get somebody on.
Are in, let's go.
All right. We need to get somebody on. We need to know the answers to these questions. This is very important stuff right here. The kind of stuff you hear on this show.
That's right. Hard-hitting news. My Daily Whinnie goes out to all the horse owners in the world who do what I did this morning, which was, you know, I'm up here. I've got to do this thing, so I haven't done the horses yet. And they all kind of just mill around in the pasture waiting for me to show up down there. And I'm at my house, and I look out into the pasture, and I always do like a head count. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
How do you know it changes like every day?
I know. Trust me. I have to write it down. But I looked down, and there's a horse from Horse and Hound named Ring Bearer. And he is a 4-year-old thoroughbred gelding, and he's out in a paddock by himself. And it's over near where the neighbor's cows are. So there's like a lot of mosquitoes on that side of the farm. So I put a fly sheet on him. Last night, I turned him out with it. And I'm looking down, and I was like, oh, there's Ring Bearer. Wait, didn't he have a fly sheet on? He did. He's not wearing a fly sheet. Oh, he took it off. Wait, what's that on his head? Yeah. He decided to shred the entire fly sheet, and it was on his head, not stuck to his head. So, of course, I get in my car and I peel down. So I was late this morning. I peel down and get down there and I look at him and I'm like, I expected him to be stuck to a fence. It's lodged on him. No, just on his head. I just pulled it off no problem. All he had to do was lower his head to the ground and it would have fallen off. But no, he decides he's going to walk around and, of course, shred the sheet underneath his hooves.
Yeah, it looks like he broke I seen the picture. He broke every buckle and strap.
Everyone. I mean, this thing is amazing. So I took a picture as I was walking down. So that is what we're using as the show notes picture today. And it was appropriate because we're going to have somebody on to talk about bugs.
I like that his sheet was also in a pile of poop. I like how he just drug it through the pile of poop too.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. And he has a little boo-boo. So I put some SWAT on it. And of course it's ripped pink SWAT all over everything. It's just a hot mess of disaster.
You're gonna be throwing that one away.
Why do we pay for stuff? Why do we buy nice stuff for our horses?
Yeah, that was a classic picture. We'll put that in the show notes. Hey, you live on the East Coast and you want a job in theater and it also involves horses and maybe riding around very fast on horses, then Dolly Parton wants you. And we actually had one of our listeners who we met on the Roadshow, who worked at Dolly Parton's Stampede dinner and show in Pigeon Forge. And Jennifer and I have seen this many times. But it's a great show. They're looking for help. So right now, they're looking for people either backstage. You can be helping backstage, controlling lights and sound. You can also be one of the dancers, or you can be one of the ones riding the horse through the competitions. So they're looking for people either with horseback riding experience is helpful, not required. I guess they'll teach you how to do that, but probably it'd help if you knew how to do that. Because it's a very fast show. And I know they used to drive chuck wagons and stuff. I don't know if they do that anymore. But there's also different animals that you work with at various hours, and it includes all kinds of benefits and stuff too. I don't know how they are to work for, but I could ask our listener. I don't think she's there anymore, but I could ask her how they are to work for. I think she enjoyed it at the time she was there.
One of the things you have to do is you have to work in a fast-paced environment, work with different animals, have flexible hours, and then you have to have the physical ability to stand, walk, and run in sand for extended periods.
Yes, because it's deep sand. Their arena's deep sand. This is also. Have you ever been to this one?
No.
It's the one where this is one where you eat dinner while you watch. It's one of the dinner shows, kind of like Arabian Nights was that used to be here, or Medieval Times, one of those.
I've been to a Medieval Times, so it's a dinner show, and you get to watch the horses.
Yeah, it's almost the exact same thing, although just think Dolly Parton Western kind of theme.
Love it.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah, so if you want that, I'll put the link to that in our show notes if you want to look for a job over in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Jennifer and I have been there many times. We go. Every time we go there, we go to that. That's also the place where I can tell you there's a low section of the parking lot. Do not park in the low section of the parking lot because our car got... apparently, we had torrential rains while we were in watching it. I didn't even know.
Oh, no.
Came out, and our car got flooded up to the windows.
Oh no!
We wouldn't run. We had to get insurance. It stayed there for a couple of weeks, and yeah, don't do that. So that was fun.
Sucks.
That was a claim.
You're like, Pigeon Forge, it's great. Oh wait, that parking nightmare that sucked. That sucks that's your memory of it.
Don't do that. Don't do what we did. So but you can head on right over to State Line Tack right now. Oh my God. Go to statelinetack.com and see what's on sale right now on the homepage. You're going to laugh.
Okay, is it hopefully a fly sheet?
It is right there on the homepage. Yeah, it's right there on the homepage right now. If you go, fly sheets are on sale. Professionals' choice fly sheets, fly boots, all kinds of different things on sale right now at statelinetack.com. But the main thing on the homepage is a fly sheet.
Ready to battle the bugs? Yeah, but I'm not wasting my money on this crap anymore.
Not for this horse, anyway.
Not for that horse. Duke, the angel baby, has had his same fly sheet for 30 years.
Really?
Why? What's going? Yes.
That's a record, I think.
I know. And it gets too hot in the afternoon, so I have to take it off and then I put it back on. And so he wears it in certain times. He's the same fly boots too. And he's an angel about it. And then you got this guy who's like, I'm going to wear it as a headdress for fun.
They have, I'm looking through here, they have saddle pads, they have saddle blankets for Western. They have the weird kind, and this is, I don't know who makes these, Pro-Choice probably. They have the weird, and I've never used these, the deluxe fly masks that have the fringes that go over the nose. I just think that would drive Scooter nuts, or he would rip him to shreds or something.
I took a video of a horse with my old horse Drax. I put that on him, and it was like red, white, and blue, and the tassels were like all, it was like American flag. And all you see him is like lip, like trying to catch him in his mouth. It was awesome. So super
I don't
fun.
think Scooter would ever stop. I think they would just be obsessed with that.
Maybe he would do that instead of eat. So maybe a good option for him.
I don't think he would appreciate that. But, he's actually looking a little bit better. Head on over to statelinetack.com. He's kind of in a dry lot right now because we're at the rental property. So I can fix that when we go to a new place. We can make him fat again. Horses in History is next up. And I dug a story out that I had done, 6 years ago, because it relates to the Olympics. And it was an amazing story. This was written by Biz Stam. Remember Biz? She wrote this for me, and it's a great story. I want to play it for you. But it also kind of involves, in a way, the Paralympics, which are coming up August 28th through September the 8th. And I'll go over more about how you can actually watch the Paralympics dressage and how you can do that right after we play the story. But this is a story about the first female athlete to win an equestrian medal at the Olympics. But there's more to the story. Girls and Horses by Biz Stam. Girls and horses represent one of the great pairings in life, but equestrian sport for many years was exclusively a boys' club. Until the mid-20th century, horses were associated with masculinity. Hunting, logging, and carriage driving. Jobs that depended on hooved horsepower were seen as men's work. Women rode, of course, for the purpose of transportation, and sometimes as a leisure activity. But the term horsemanship is a relic of the male-dominated equestrian era. While skilled horsemen existed in a wide variety of vocations, the greatest horsemen of all could be found in the military. For centuries, men have been shaped into adept horsemen within the ranks of cavalry units. When riding into battle, it is imperative that human and horse communicate clearly and act as a seamlessly functioning unit. It was this environment, where good horsemanship could mean the difference between life and death, that forged the most skilled riders in the world. When equestrian sports were first introduced as part of the Olympics at the Paris Games in 1900, there were 4 different events: polo, Grand Prix jumping, which was similar to today's show jumping, the high jump, and the long jump. Countries were only permitted to be represented in equestrian events by commissioned military officers. And because at the time all commissioned military officers were men, so were the equestrian Olympic athletes. After their first appearance in 1900, equestrian sports were cut from the games until 1908, where the only horse sport offered was polo. In 1912, dressage, show jumping, and eventing were added to the roster. So while equestrian sports were back in full force, participation was still limited to commissioned military officers. Despite the exclusion of women at the Olympic Games, one young girl at a riding school in Hellerup, Denmark, had dreams of becoming an elite equestrian athlete. The girl, coached by her mother, showed promise in the sport of dressage. As she grew older, she developed the skill to compete amongst the men. She took a brief break from riding to have a child with plans of returning to competition soon after, but while pregnant, she became incredibly ill. At first, it felt like a simple case of the flu, but it turned out to be something much worse. The doctor said it was polio, a disease that often led to debilitating muscle paralysis. The woman gave birth to a healthy child, but the polio virus had taken its toll on her body. Her muscles were weak, and doctors were convinced that she would never return to her previous strength. They said it was unlikely she would ever ride again, and if she did, it would never be at a competitive level that she had in the past. The doctor's bleak predictions lit a fire under the young woman. She was determined to prove them wrong. She would ride again. At the time, there was little knowledge regarding how to treat the effects of polio, but the young woman, equipped with sandbags on a pulley system, developed an exercise routine to train her atrophied muscles. Determined to free herself from her bedridden state, she fashioned herself rubber knee pads so she could crawl about the house. The young woman was mentally tough, but even for her, the rehabilitation process was incredibly grueling. There were many times she wanted to quit, but luckily for her, she wasn't in the fight alone. Her mother, who doubled as her riding coach, was there with her through many sessions, providing a stern look when it looked as though the young woman wanted to quit. We're all aware of the power inherent in the stern look from a riding instructor, let alone your mother, and those looks were enough to keep her fighting through the pain and fatigue. While she was able to regain normal function in the majority of her muscles, the polio had left her permanently paralyzed from the knee down, a vital muscle group for competitive dressage. The paralysis left her unable to mount or dismount her horse without assistance, but with the help of her husband, she found herself able to ride once again. Despite her disability, she returned to competitive riding, arguably in her best form yet, capturing the title of Danish national champion. That same year, 1952, the International Olympic Committee decided to change guidelines for athletes in equestrian sports. A man no longer needed to be a commissioned military officer in order to compete. Now any man could represent his country as an equestrian athlete. And while women were still excluded from participating in show jumping and eventing at the Olympic level, they were now permitted to compete in dressage. The young woman who battled her way back from polio to become national champion was deservingly chosen for the 1952 Danish dressage team. At the Olympics, she put in the performance of a lifetime, and while it wasn't quite enough to clinch the gold, it was enough for the silver. Medal ceremonies at the Olympic Games are known for being emotional events. Years of hard work and dedication are distilled into a matter of moments. The dressage medal ceremony in 1952 is said to be one of the most emotional of all time. Gold medalist Henri St. Cyr of Sweden carried the young woman paralyzed by polio from her horse to the podium where she leaned on her husband for support. On that podium, the young woman, a woman by the name of Liz Hartl, became the first woman in history to win a medal in an equestrian event. Liz would go on to win a second silver at the 1956 Games, a gold at the Aachen World Championships, and 7 Danish national championships. In her mind, however, her greatest accomplishment, knowing firsthand how horses can help people in the most difficult of times, was opening the very first therapeutic riding center in Denmark. Liz Hartl accomplished many firsts in her life, accomplishments that were the result of her courage, perseverance, and undying love of horses. These milestones paved the way for a new generation of riders, ensuring that while she might have been the first, she wouldn't be the last. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Amazing woman. Para-Equestrian is coming up, and the dates are September 3rd through September 7th. And, of course, it's at the same place where they held the other equestrian competitions at the Chateau de Versailles. And it's going to be streaming on Peacock, NBC Olympics, NBC.com, NBC app. The places where you watched, basically go to Peacock, where you watch the other Olympics, you can watch the Paralympics, and you can also watch Equestrian Paralympics, though we'll have them there. The U.S. team won bronze in 2021 in Tokyo. It was the first time the U.S. team ever reached the podium in para dressage. And this year, guess what? The team is ranked number 1 in the world. So there's a chance of winning gold this year. So you definitely want to check it out. There's, I think every member of the team we've talked to on the show in the past Becca Hart, of course, is the team captain, and we've talked to her many times. She's the one that works for Starbucks. And Starbucks just did another article on her. They have this program for athletes that work at Starbucks, of all different types of athletes, and they support them. They give them time off. They don't penalize them in any way, so that they can live out their dreams. And they've been so supportive of Becca Hart. She works down in Wellington at the Starbucks down there, and of course, she works in Wellington at the Starbucks. Everybody that comes in is a horse person that follows her, right? So she has a lot of support from the Starbucks down there, and they just did an article on their blog at starbucks.com on her and her horses going to the Olympics. This is her 4th or 5th, I think, Paralympics she's going to. So good luck to the entire team over there. Good luck to Becca, and we're rooting for you guys.
This Horse Health Report is brought to you by Daily Dose Equine, non-GMO core nutrition for horses and ponies of all ages. And I'd like to welcome back to the show Dr. Rosanna Marsella. She is a veterinarian at the University of Florida and a professor and a veterinary dermatologist at the College of Vet Medicine there. Welcome to the show, Dr. Marsella.
My pleasure to be back.
Thank you for coming. It is that time of year where we were just talking here. Things seem like they calmed down, and then Glenn got a hurricane and we got tremendous amount of rain, and all the bugs are back out.
Yes. I mean, Florida just got pummeled with, the storm Debbie. So yes, it's been brutal.
So how can we help our horses?
Yeah, it's a challenge right now. I think the environmental conditions are very challenging, and I think there isn't one single answer. I can provide several suggestions and things that people can implement, and so that collectively you have some success. So one is if possible, the environmental control, right? So that there are some areas where we notice that there are more mosquitoes, right? Because they're the bushes or whatever, there's some standing water or something like that. So as much as historically I've been opposed to chemicals, I now encourage people, and I do it myself, I spray some permethrin, to kind of minimize the the young stages of mosquitoes just coming out from all those areas. I also use a mosquito magnet, which is a cordless machine, has a propane tank, and so the mosquitoes, no-see-ums, are attracted by the CO2, and on top of that, you can use specific attractants, and so basically you lure the insects into these traps, and so that they kind of leave the horses alone. So you kind of put them in proximity to the horses, but not exactly where the horses are, because you want to lure the insects away from the horses. So those are things that you can do environmentally. And then the use of heavy-duty repellents. And and at this point, multiple times a day. So you could be spraying a horse in the morning and think that you should have protection for multiple days, but that is not the case. As they sweat, and the load of bugs is so high, you have to reapply. So morning and evening. And the products, there are several products, but ultimately you're looking for something with permethrin, something like at least a 1% permethrin, possibly more, or synthetic derivative of permethrin, like the Endure and the Tritec. They have the cypermethrin, which is 0.15. So you can go to a lower percentage because it's a derivative. And basically apply generously. That's
okay.
Yeah.
It's always a question, I think, almost where you live as what fly sprays actually work. So I love that you've named a couple of them. Endure and Tritec are some ones that I just wrote down to put on my list for shopping. Fantastic.
We've been finding good luck, and we're not endorsed by any of these, by the way, so this is not a commercial. But we've been having good luck here in Florida. The only thing that we found that really works with Florida mosquitoes, which I think are equivalent to Australian European mosquitoes, they just want to kill you, is mosquito halt. And I don't know what mosquito halt has in it, but it seems to work for the mosquitoes. Now, it doesn't work as effectively for the flies, which is interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
The flies, you have to, flies, you need to literally drown them in chemicals, so they don't really repel. So that's the thing, you use as an insecticide, so as the fly is on the horse, that you effectively kill it that way. But yes, mosquito halt is one of them. It's not as strong as the Tritech or the Endure, but also has a combination of permethrin and derivative of permethrin, so that works fine. And the repellent activity is more for the mosquitoes and the no-see-ums. But the actual flies, whether you have yellow flies or black flies or whatever you have, nothing really deters them. For the black fly, one thing that can help is, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, to have the black sticky balls, that you hang from lower branches. So the black flies are attracted to shiny color. And so you can buy these kits online, and basically it's a sticky, is a black ball, shiny, and then you can paint the sticky material and you hang it from a branch so that there's a little bit of movement, hopefully, and so the flies go for it, and then literally they get stuck on it. And for black flies, if that's the main issue, that it seems to work more than any insecticide.
Wow, I've never heard of those. I just Googled it. So I always use the bags, but God, they smell so bad. And this year, I mean, oh man, after like 3 days, you're like, I can't even be in here anymore. But for the first year at my farm here in Oklahoma, we've started using the fly predators. Oh my God. It is a dramatic difference from last year to this year with the fly predators.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you probably don't have neighbors, right? So you're the only, Yeah, because I think that is a good additional strategy, assuming that basically you don't have a bunch of other people around you also with animals and not using the fly predators, and so you don't make a dent, So I tried them, but I have people around me as well, and so unless everybody is on the same program, you may not see a great difference. But I think these are all possible strategies. Yes. Before
we get into actually, what you do when your horse comes in, he's completely bug bitten all over. Before we get into that, you can use too much fly spray though, right? One of our horses was at the boarding stable and they were using a lot of fly spray, and he ended up with a problem on his back because of the fly spray. We really had to cut it back. Is there anything that you can use to help alleviate what Jennifer calls fly spray burn, right?
Right. So some horses become sensitized, and it can occur with any product, and they get this kind of like a flaky skin where it kind of peels off. And and so I have seen it. Some horses don't deal well with chemicals, whether it's the vehicle or the permethrin itself. Some horses don't deal well with the neem oil products. One is called Equiderma, and it's great for some horses and not so great for others. So I think it's an individual response, and my suggestion is basically if you have one that develops an issue, to simply kind of try a different product to see if it's better tolerated. And for the existing lesions, you want to basically use some mild moisturizing shampoo or conditioner with oatmeal or topical pramoxine, so something that will soothe the skin. But I don't keep using the product. If I realize that the horse is having an issue, then you just stop and try something different. This is also true with chlorhexidine. So when people use antimicrobial shampoos, there are some horses that become very sensitive to the chlorhexidine, and you need to change strategy.
Well, that's good to know too, because you can tell your vet not to scrub before surgery using chlorhexidine.
Right. So it's like, and people too, right? So there are some of us that become sensitized to the chlorhexidine scrub. And so chlorhexidine is a strong sensitizer, so has good qualities. But in some cases, once you become sensitized to it, then you need to just change altogether. Yeah.
Before we run out of time, I saw something in the article that you put, and I have never thought of this, but say you have a horse that is incredibly itchy. One of the things that you talked about was putting about 6 mils of dexamethasone Dex in the bottle of fly spray, so that when you spray the horse, it actually helps the itching.
Yes. It's obviously quackery, right? Because it's like, so there is no scientific study that was run. It's just based on clinical experience. So so obviously nobody wants to give systemic steroids to a horse for very good reasons, right? So, I mean, have to, but if we can avoid it, it would be best. And the skin has the advantage that you can reach it topically, but when you treat it systemically, that's a disadvantage because you need to use a much higher concentration, whether it's an antibiotic or a steroid, in order to have the effect in the skin, right? So basically, skin is very amenable to topical. So your options for topical are, there is a commercial product that has triamcinolone in it. It's called Genesis Spray, but it's very expensive. It's a small bottle, and it's labeled for a small animal. And you can use it in horses, but it doesn't go very far because the bottle is small. So what I did years ago, I calculated the equivalent percentage that is in that product, and I used dexamethasone, because it's very accessible to most people and is inexpensive, and that's what I ask my clients to do, and I do it myself if one of my guys is very itchy. So if you're using the spray routinely, it will not last you very long, because the issue is stability, right? So like, you don't know how stable this mix is, most likely no more than 2 weeks. But if you're using it routinely, it's okay, and it's a much more benign sin than treating horses with injectable Dex.
Yeah, I love this because I have an Andalusian who, oh my God, just rubs his mane. I mean, he's been dewormed. He's like up out of the heat. He gets regular baths, but he rubs his mane out every summer, and it makes me crazy. So is this something that maybe I could administer topically, even with just like put it in water and spray that in his mane and tail to keep him from rubbing?
Yes, you can. Also, if he's rubbing his mane, he's insect allergic, right? So basically, that is a manifestation of no-see-um allergy. So there are different species of no-see-um, and many farms have multiple species. But the long story is that most culicoides allergic horses or no-see-um allergic horses have an itchy neck and an itchy rump. So they will rub their neck and destroy their mane. They will rub their butt against the fence and kind of break the hair at the base of the tail and so on. So using repellent all over and adding the Dex so that you can give him a break, that's the best thing you can do for him. And if you see little scabs on the neck, it means that he has also a staph infection. So in the air, anytime you feel scabs, then you can get a chlorhexidine spray and basically spray all those scabby areas so that you kill staphylococcus. Because the staphylococcus also makes the skin very itchy. So the sequence is there is inflammation in the skin because you have allergies, and on top of that, staphylococcus takes over, and so it further increases the level of itch. So you use some chlorhexidine to kill staph, and then your fly spray with Dex to prevent more bites and give him a break in terms of itch.
Oh my gosh, you've just answered all the questions. Now, one more. If I see the scab, am I supposed to pick the scab, or am I supposed to leave it alone?
Leave it alone.
Oh, yeah. I've been messing that up.
I know. It's hard. You know
horse girls, they have to pick scabs. It's a thing. It's what horse girls do.
Yeah, it's an urge, right? Yeah. But the thing is you don't want to encourage scarring, right? So when the skin is ready to heal, the scab will fall off on its own. But if you start scraping and plucking and all that, then you encourage scarring. So you want, you treat it when the infection is under control. This thing will come off on its own. So don't do it. I know it's hard, but don't do it.
Okay, I'm writing all this down. You should see my whole page is full.
Okay.
So I have a question. This has happened to a friend of ours here recently in the last couple of weeks, and I've been reading stories about it. I mean, there's been some horrible stories about it. It seems for some reason bees are becoming more aggressive, but they were out riding in the woods. The ground wasps or whatever they are, they came across a nest, came up, stung them many times, but stung their horses like 20 times. At what point do you call a vet when you have a bee sting incident like that?
I would say, so the allergic reaction to bees is 10 to 15 minutes. And so in that amount of time, you'll realize whether... the response, it depends whether you have an allergy to it or not. Of course, the bee stings are painful, and you do have a bump and you have some itch. But one thing is like a little, a few bumps, they're not spreading. And the other one is the allergic individual where you start getting hives all over, even, way more than the amount of bites that you had. That is an issue, right? So that is it calls for medications. And so what are the things that people can give? So there are two drugs really that you would be using for this type of situation. One is the steroids, and the other one is antihistamines. So if people are still waiting, let's say for the vet, and let's say this horse is having a more generalized reaction, Benadryl, if you happen to have Benadryl at home, you can give even the oral Benadryl to horses because most people don't have the injectable. You can give the oral one. So a big horse, like let's say 1,300-pound horse, you can get something like 450 milligram of up to 500 milligram of Benadryl. So if it comes in 25, it makes what, 20 pills, right?
Yeah.
Check my math. Yeah. So that's basically, antihistamines and steroids. But if the horse, to answer your question, if the horse develops, over the 15 minutes, generalized hives and swelling, particularly, in the neck area, the throat latch area, that's definitely, you need injectable steroids.
Okay, that's good to know.
Well, this has been awesome. I've taken lesson notes, and I'm going to go spend a lot of money. So this is fantastic. Two of my favorite things. Well, thank you so much for coming on and explaining all of this to us, Dr. Marsella. It is wonderful. Where can people learn about you and what you do in the University of Florida?
Well, I mean, so there are many ways. One is Google my name, and and there are many articles that come up. Another way is to go on the UF website, and I am on the the dermatology service, and so that you can kind of click on that and see what we're working on. So one thing that we're working is on a new treatment for itch in horses. So hopefully you'll hear more about that, trying to create an alternative to the use of steroids. But yeah, so those are ways to kind of learn more about it.
Love it. Well, when you discover that, you come here first and tell us about it. That'd be fantastic. Yes, Dr. Marsella, thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.
Yes, thank you. Same to you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was a lot of good information. I didn't know some of that.
Oh my gosh, I've taken so many notes. This is fantastic because Miles, every summer, right about now, his mane, he just rubs off the middle of it. And I'm like, you're an Andalusian. You're supposed to have a long, beautiful, flowy mane. It's like chunky. So yeah, and he's rubbing his butt now too. It's perfect.
I didn't know about that. You know what she said about the no-see-um allergy? I didn't realize that's one of the reasons they rub their manes and butts, because Scooter does the same thing. So
Chlorhex spray. Then fly spray with Dex, and then I'll do some water with Dex on his mane and tail. Oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah, you don't want an Andalusian without a mane. That's kind of sad.
No, It's embarrassing.
By the way...
he's an Andalusian, sure he is. He's just a fat pony is what he is.
Dr. Marsella wrote an article on managing bug bites in horses for our sister company, thehorse.com. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. Let's hear from a couple of our sponsors, then we're going to come back with some weird news.
Non-GMO whole food nutrition is the basis of the entire Daily Dose Equine program. We never forget that natural is better and simplicity is key. Our full line of specialty horse feeds is unique in the industry. We start with high-quality non-GMO grains that are flame-roasted for safety and better digestibility. And then we add non-GMO alfalfa, timothy, peas, sunflower seeds, and flax. Your horse will enjoy unsurpassed balanced core nutrition with elevated levels of vitamins, zinc and copper, prebiotics, probiotics, and electrolytes in every mouthful. Find the perfect formulation for your horse at dailydoseequine.com. Select Daily Dose Equine formulations are available nationwide through chewy.com and tractorsupply.com.
Easy, effective, and eco-friendly fly control starts with fly predators. Fly predators are the organic, natural way to dramatically minimize your fly problem. Learn more about fly predators and other Spalding Labs fly control solutions at Spalding, SPALDING-labs.com.
Time to learn why some days you're embarrassed to be part of the human race. In Jamie's Weird News.
We're going to go all over today, Glenn. We're going to even hit my home state of Georgia. But of course, where are we going to wrap it up?
Florida.
You got it, baby. I was like, are you there?
Yeah, no, I was thinking. I was trying to come up with a better place than Florida, but I couldn't.
No, you can't. There is none. Okay, so I would like to, if you're ever like reading news somewhere on your phone or wherever, and you see a really weird story that you're like, dude, that's really weird, email it to me, jamie@horseradionetwork.com, and just put weird news in the subject line, just like Glenn, Andrew, Serenity, Laureen, Delia, Janelle, Julie, Melissa, Nate, Katie, Michelle, Becky, Allison, and Catherine.
Well, you didn't get any this week, huh? It's a little slow week.
Right? And some of those send multiple stories, and some of them send multiple inappropriate stories, which I can't use on the show, but I want you to know I love them. Okay, so we're going to start. Glenn only lets me do 4. So we're going to start with this one. And this is, I believe, in Chicago. No, this is in Florida. This is in Tampa. So we're going to start and end in Florida. In Florida and Tampa. Glenn, when was the last time that or when is your next colonoscopy? This sounds like a weird question, but I'm going somewhere.
Hopefully 3 years from now. I thought you were going to ask when I was going to be in Tampa. I'll actually be in Tampa tomorrow.
Don't get a colonoscopy there.
Okay.
Let me just tell you. Because the doctor who has been performing colonoscopies among other practices. His name is Ishwari Prasad. And unfortunately, he is hearing impaired, and he decided to not wear them to work one day and began performing a colonoscopy without his hearing aids. And you know, like when you get that procedure done, you're sedated, right?
Yes. You're all the way under.
All the way under, completely under. Well, Dr. Prasad was not wearing his hearing aids and did not hear the patient screaming during the procedure. During the procedure, the patient was screaming and he didn't hear it. So he was fine.
But isn't there an anesthesiologist and supposed to be in the room?
Well, that's a great question.
Because on mine, there was an well, at least there was an anesthesiologist when we started the procedure. I don't know if they leave.
The minimum standard of care requires doctors to immediately stop performing a colonoscopy if a patient is not fully sedated.
Wake up.
Yeah. This person woke up during his procedure. Now, as far as having somebody in there, he's gotten in trouble before for having surgical technicians perform the procedure, but they're not licensed.
He's not in there.
No, so I don't know if anybody else was in there. Now, according to the settlement, he was fined $7,500 and is now restricted from performing gastroenterology procedures. He did not admit to
yank his license.
No, what is going on in Florida?
Wow, you think they would at least yank his license?
Somebody in there with him. But we'll just tell you that a lot of charges have been filed against him. So medical malpractice is one of the big ones. So at this point, he's just been fined.
Fear of mine is waking up during a surgery. I think that's probably a fear of everybody, actually. I'm not unique to that. But yeah. But then actually doing it?
Weird. And doing that.
I'm glad you didn't tell me that before 2 weeks ago.
I know, right? I'm glad somebody said it to me. We're going to head north, Glenn, from Florida, and we're going to go all the way to Georgia. So this is in Forest Park, which is South Atlanta. And it's just a nice, like, sweet little farmer's market going on in Forest Park, Georgia. Unfortunately for the people in the farmer's market, or the individual who had brought all the celery, like a lot of celery, like a truckload of celery came to this farmer's market to be sold. But when the DEA agents swarmed the Atlanta State Farmers Market in Forest Park, unfortunately, they had been tracking this truck of celery. Why had they been tracking this truck of celery, Glenn? Would you like to know?
My guess is it wasn't just celery.
2,300 pounds of methamphetamines was found hidden in celery at the Georgia Farmers Market.
Gosh.
That's a lot of drugs.
That's a lot of celery.
Yeah, the agency said they basically picked up that it had crossed from Mexico, and they were like, let's just see what happens. And so they kind of like just kept track of it, and they followed it all the way to this farmer's market in Georgia from crossing the border in Mexico and Texas. And they followed it all the way. I like, that is a stone cold bust right there. I love it.
I wonder if it was just in the crates or they found some way to put it in the celery itself.
It looks to me like the one picture that I did see was like behind the celery, but I'm not sure. I can't confirm or deny. It was just a picture of celery in a truck. So it might not even been the right picture. But I will tell you that apparently using produce to conceal drugs has become a frequent tactic of smugglers, according to authorities.
Celery can be pretty bland. This would definitely not be a bland night after eating that celery.
Now, the sad story is all celery had to be destroyed. Nobody got to eat it.
I bet. You don't want people ODing on celery in Atlanta.
Nope. We're going to go to Chicago now. Chicago, Illinois, to a South suburban
There's a little
school.
convention happening there at the moment, I think.
Just a sweet, well, there was just a sweet little lady. Her name is Vera Liddell, and she is 68 years old, and she worked for the school district. And her job was to place...
I heard this.
She worked as a director of food services for the Harvey School District. Oh my God, she's just like this sweet little lady. She's so cute. Unfortunately, she's going to prison for 9 years because she stole $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. What?
What do you do?
This sweet little lady, she was basically, it was like during COVID, what happened was they stopped letting kids go to school, but they were still providing school lunches for people that, can't afford to eat. So she was ordering all the food. And then, unfortunately, she didn't actually ever, she was showing up the deliveries. She was showing up before the staff got to school, and she was picking up the deliveries of the chicken wings. Why chicken wings? What was she doing with the $1.5 million? That's 11,000 cases of chicken wings. What are you going to do with 11,000 cases of chicken wings?
The farmer's market. I don't know. What do you do with that?
I know, right? You're going to put meth in it and take it to Georgia. Says the food was never brought to the school or provided to the students. This old lady's a crook. I mean, she's looks like somebody's grandmother. Anyway, they audited it and they're like, it's only halfway through the school year and you're over budget by $300,000. If you're going to steal small. You're just putting it out there for yourself to get busted. So apparently all the invoices for the chicken wings were signed by her because they don't serve chicken wings to kids because there's bones in them. And so she was basically showing up before anybody got there and just grabbing the boxes of chicken wings. They have surveillance video of this sweet old lady picking up all these orders of chicken wings. Anyway, she's in jail for 9 years.
Did you see the follow-up to this story?
No, there's a follow-up.
Yes.
I just got this one.
Kansas City Chiefs player. What was it? Which player was it? It doesn't matter. I don't remember which player it was. Chris Jones, a defensive tackle, offered to cover the $1.5 million worth of chicken wings stolen by the food service if they'll release her.
But why was she stealing it? Was she Robin Hood?
Well, that's what he's claiming. Now, apparently the evidence showed differently, but he's claiming she was like Robin Hood and giving it to the poor children who weren't eating. But that's not what they found in the court, in when she was on trial. So, but he was said, I don't think it works that way, by the way. If somebody comes in and covers your theft, that you can get out of jail. I don't think it works that way, but yeah. I just
if she's feeding hungry children, you don't feed them chicken wings.
Yes.
You don't feed them things with massive bones in them that you just stick in your mouth and suck off the meat. Ugh, gross.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. You got to wonder where she was selling them to. She wasn't eating that many chicken wings. I don't know. That is a weird story. That's why it's in weird news.
I know, right?
That's why it qualifies.
I've got questions. All right, last one. We're going to head south again. Still on the east side of the country today, but we started in Florida, then we went to Georgia, and then we went to Chicago, and now we're heading all the way back to Florida because my favorite thing now, it's like an addiction of mine, is watching police body cam films. I don't know. I love it. It makes me so happy. I don't know why. I watched this one with Chad this morning, and he's like, thank God there's police. Just thank God there's police. Okay, so we're going to be in Port Orange, Florida. Do you know where that is?
I think it's on the East Coast, down south.
I don't know where it is, but don't go there. Because apparently a neighbor called the police because his neighbor, his name is McPeak. This is all I get is McPeak. McPeak drives up to his neighbor and was like, I'm going to shoot you if you don't blah, 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 whatever he was supposed to do. And he was like, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot you. His neighbor calls the police and says, hey, there's my neighbor across the street is threatening to shoot me. And as they're talking, body cam, you hear, bam, gun goes off. And they're like, oh my God. He's like, see, I told you. He's like over there shooting and threatening to kill me. And then the officer's like, radio and get in, and pop, you hear it again. Another shot goes off. So they're like, okay, swarm the guy's house. And they swarm the house, and they've got, it's of course dark, it's like 3 a.m. or something stupid. And they've got flashlights, and they get body cam flashlights on the guy, and they're like, put your hands up, and the guy's like, well, sir, I don't really want to do that. But you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to crack this beer. No, put your hands up. Put them where we can see them. Sir, I'm going to drink this beer. It's cold. I don't want to waste it. I am not kidding you. That is what is happening. He's like, is that cool? I'm going to crack it open. Is that okay? Is that cool?
This needs to be in the Florida Man Olympics.
I know.
How many beers can you crack before you get shot by the cops?
Before you get shot by the cops. How many can you get done before they tackle you? So stupid. They were a bit like, and so the body cam, they got the flashlights on him, and he finally puts his hands up in the air. But he's got a beer in each hand, like a cold
double
beer.
fisting.
And then they're like, walk forward. And you see him bring his hands down and start to drink. Put your hands up. Like, put your hands up. And he's like, puts his up. He's got beers in his hand. He's like, they're cold. I don't want to waste them. So they finally get him. He puts the beers down on top of his trash can, as you do, like one of the big rollout trash cans. And then they're like, turn around, and they handcuff him. And so, believe it or not, he was intoxicated.
Oh, no. Really?
I know. It's shocking. He has been charged with aggravated assault and using a firearm while under the influence of alcohol. He did not have a gun on him, but he did have many of them in his home. Way to go, Mr. McPeak. Oh, his name is Brett. Oh, he's just a real heavily bearded. He looks like that.
He looks like a Florida man.
He looks like a Florida man.
Funny how that works. If somebody wants to send a story to you like all those other people did, where do they do it?
Jamie at horseradionetwork.com. Although I'm currently working with staff to get a email weirdnews at horseradionetwork.com, because y'all send me so many emails I can't keep up with, like actual real emails that actually have work information in them. There are some of you that have emailed me, and I can't find them because I have so many weird news emails, and somebody's asking me about my clinic. And I don't know. Email me again. If I haven't written back to you, please email me again. Try again. Yeah, it's just so much.
Put not weird news in the subject line.
No, not weird. I love you all. You're all awesome.
Hey, I wanted to give a special shout out to somebody that's been on this show before, actually co-hosted before when she worked with us for a little while, Mandy Flanders. You remember Mandy? She's the one that left us to go work driving the bootmobile for LL Bean. And she's been driving the bootmobile for years, going to events all across the country. And New York Times did a whole article on the bootmobile and Mandy.
Wow.
It just came out a little bit ago. It's titled "A Shoe That Goes 65 Miles per Hour," and it was a great article. She got to drive the guy around for a day in the bootmobile. And she loves doing it. It's one of her favorite things to do. So good job, Mandy. Well done. She's loving her time at LL Bean. And she has the personality for that. She'd be great at it. But they set up at colleges and all over the place, all over the East Coast. I don't know if there's more than one bootmobile, but she had the opportunity. The Wienermobile and the bootmobile met at the same event, and they parked beside each other. So last year there were pictures of the two together.
Well, the Wienermobile did just crash, so stay safe, Mandy. Yes.
Oh, no. Well, you think all the miles they put on, eventually they're going to crash, right? Somebody probably targeted it, doesn't like hot dogs, a vegan, probably ran into it. That's probably
that, or she was avoiding hitting a dog and cut the wheel and just rolled it. That's what happened. The wiener rolled over.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
That's a weird news story right there.
I know that's how I know somebody sent it to me, but I had too many to get to that one. Spade, neuter, gallop, everybody.
All right, hang on, auditors.